Welcome to a special edition of AST. Today's episode is going to be called Shake Up Saturday. And today I'm going to be talking about the much anticipated college football playoffs. Yes, new rankings came out on Tuesday. The AP had number 1 LSU, 2 Ohio State, 3 Clemson, 4 Alabama, and on and on. Please reference the graphics. CFBP, LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, continuing on. Yes, so new rankings have come out, so that means I have to put out my own rankings and tell them why they are wrong/right. So my personal rankings right now, I got number 1, I got to give it up to LSU. Number 2, I got the main man, Ohio State. Sorry, the Ohio State. Number 3, I got Clemson, giving more of a shake-up. Number 4, I got Oregon. And number 5, I got Alabama. Number 6 is Minnesota. Number 7, Georgia. Sorry, Atlanta. Number 8 is the Utah Utes. Yes, so let's dive right into this. Number 1, LSU. I was completely wrong. I thought Alabama was going to win this game. They have had the longest home streak active in the SEC, 31 games, I believe it was, before LSU. And that guy, Joe Burrow, came knocking. Yes. Huge win over Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Joe Burrow should be the top candidate for the Heisman at this point and is definitely going to go in the top couple picks of this next year's NFL draft if he goes, which I do think he will. Although the defense gave up a lot of points, I believe it was 41. They disrupted an injured Tua. Yes, injured Tua, and it gave them the edge in the first half and kind of build up the lead that they needed. Ed Orgeron, the head coach of LSU, did a great job prepping the team and making sure that they're focused on fundamentals and making sure to hit hard. Okay, LSU number 1, 2, Ohio State. They actually fell in the rankings after winning. The first time ever that's happened, but LSU beat number 3, Alabama, so they obviously got bumped up. Ohio State dropped down to 2, not anything against them, and a huge win over that, although they did not have Chase Young. Chase Young will miss the next game at Rutgers. For those of you who don't know, Chase Young, Heisman candidate, he had 4 sacks against the Wisconsin game a couple weeks ago and kind of pushed him up into the Heisman candidate himself. Last year, he took a loan from a family friend so he could bring his girlfriend with him to the Rose Bowl game that the Ohio State was in last year. He paid back the loan in full, plus a little bit extra, I'm pretty sure, but due to NCAA rules, that was a ban. So Chase Young came out and said, hey, this is what happened. Ohio State reported it. Chase Young had to sit out a game. NCAA came back and said, hey, you got to sit at least one more game. So he will miss the at Rutgers game, but he will play the Penn State game at home, and he will play in the at Michigan game. Very needed for that at Michigan to secure the bag. Ryan Day, first year head coaching at Ohio State, is doing great. A lot of players are stepping up. It's fantastic. If they want to stay where Ohio State is, they need to essentially win out and not lose. Although Minnesota is creeping, I can see a Minnesota-Ohio State Big Ten championship. If Ohio State loses that Big Ten championship, I honestly don't know if they're going to stay in that CFB playoffs. So Ohio State, you got to win out if you want to stay there. Number 3, I got Clemson. Clemson is riding the wave. They don't need to do anything except win out because Ohio State is supposed to play Penn State, who was number 4 last week. Ohio State is supposed to play Michigan, who is 14th or 15th, I believe. LSU has a couple games, and they will probably have to play Georgia. LSU will have to probably play Georgia in the SEC championship. If LSU wins, Georgia's not going to make it to the CFB. If Georgia wins, though, that's going to boost Clemson up, and that's going to kind of move LSU down and kind of put into flux, okay, is Georgia going to be in or is LSU going to be in? The committee will kind of look at that stuff. But right now, Clemson is just, all Clemson has to do and Dabo Swinney's think about is just win out. They have 2 more games. They're facing Wake Forest, unranked, and South Carolina. I'm not really too worried about that South Carolina game. I'm going to get more into why South Carolina is an ultimate deciding factor, but I could see South Carolina giving Clemson some trouble, just like UNC gave Clemson some trouble. Next, I got number 4. Yes, hot take. I got Oregon. Now, slow down, okay? I'm going to explain why. Okay, so they're the first team to rep the Pac-12 this year in the top few spots in the college football playoff rankings. Their only loss that they have was a week 1 against Auburn at a neutral zone, and it was on the last second play. Bo Nix just somehow wailed Auburn to a win on the last play. So that's their only loss. Week 1, Auburn, neutral zone. Pretty crazy to think about. And they have a better offense than Georgia, but Georgia has a weaker defense. And I think that the committee takes a look at how you score points. Yes, defense is a huge factor, but Oregon has scored almost 100 more points than Georgia. I think it's about like 75. But okay, so the reason why I don't have Georgia in at number 4, they lost at home to a unranked South Carolina team. Oregon, when they lost, they were ranked 11th. Auburn was ranked 16th. So that's 5 rankings. That's essentially nothing because the rankings flow up and down so much week to week. So Georgia lost at home, unranked team. It astounds me that this has happened. Otherwise, I would obviously put Georgia in the situation. But a lot is riding this weekend when Georgia plays Auburn. If Auburn beats Georgia, then Georgia is eliminated from the CFB, and that could push Alabama back in. That could push Minnesota to the 4. That could push Utah or Oregon to the 4. But right now I have Oregon ahead of Utah because they have more profound wins and not as many close games as one. I think Utah has a couple close games by 5 or 6 points. Oregon maybe has like 1 game, maybe 2 games where they won, where it's been a total of like 3 points. And then Alabama's not number 4 because they lost at home against number 1, number 2. They dropped down to number 5. Now, is there a chance that Alabama could get back in? Yes, but it's not them just winning out because they're not going to be in the SEC championship because LSU is in their division, and it's going to be LSU versus probably Georgia. Alabama has to win out maybe if Georgia beats Auburn, and then they have 1 more game. I'm not sure who they play, unfortunately, sorry. But if Georgia beats LSU, then that gives a chance for Alabama to climb back up. However, they have to blow out their opponents, and they have to win because the committee takes a lot of things under the fact, and I think that I don't know if you can put 3 SC teams into the conversation of the CFB when you have 2 unbeaten teams. Now, if Ohio State plays Minnesota in the Big Ten championship and Ohio State loses, and that's going to push up Minnesota, who's going to stay unbeaten. But honestly, a lot is riding on Auburn because they have a couple more games, and that South Carolina game that Clemson is going to play. So Georgia lost to South Carolina. Alabama beat the brakes off South Carolina. But if Clemson loses at South Carolina, I think that's going to drop Clemson from the top 3, and that's going to push Alabama up. That's going to push Oregon, Utah, and maybe Minnesota. The reason why Minnesota jumped so high up is because of that Penn State win. Although Minnesota doesn't have a lot of good wins except for that one, maybe 1 more. They haven't really played anybody, but if they win the Big Ten championship and they win out, and there's a lot of what ifs right now for this first half. The top 3 seeds right now are pretty locked up, but it's about that 4 to 6, 4 to 7 range right now. A lot of 1-loss teams from getting in. I don't think Penn State's going to get in. If they beat Ohio State, that's going to move them up to like 6. I don't think they're going to get back in though. Minnesota is obviously going to be above Penn State because Minnesota beat Penn State and Minnesota remains unbeaten. A lot of what ifs right now. I got Oregon right now. I have Oregon penciled in. I think a lot of people have number 4 penciled in. We're going to have to see what this next week what these next 2 weeks can do before we get into championships and all that kind of jazz. Please, this was tough decision slash rankings for me. Please let me know what you think. I would love to get other inside perspectives and stuff like that, because people see things differently, and my opinion is probably going to differ from a lot of other different people's opinions. So thanks for watching. Please drop a comment, hit that like button, subscribe. I would love to hear from all of you. Thanks for tuning in. I got to get out of here. I got to run. Have a good day. Peace out.